Hey guys, it's Holly. So today we're gonna have a look at my most anticipated LEGO Marvel set for this year so far, and that is the Avengers Endgame Final Battle, which is set 76192 and has 527 pieces and retails for $70 US or 150 Australian, which is a very big jump, which I will talk about in a second. But for Europe, this set is currently already out. In Australia, this will be widely releasing in July. However, it is still available on Shop at Home if you are interested in getting it now. And for those in North America, this set will be releasing on August 1st. So let's have a close look at it, starting off with the minifigures. First up, we have Iron Man, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be the exact same one in the Sanctuary 2 later this year. And he comes with some really neat Power Blast pieces at the bottom, as well as the little handheld ones, and even this little brick-built shield, which actually has 2 stickers on it, and using those Nexonite pieces at the bottom and a bit at the top, which is just kind of attached to one of those dark red shields here. And the big thing with this Iron Man is that it marks the return of the classic Iron Man helmet. I'm so glad to see these helmets return for the MCU Iron Man figures. I just think they look incredible, and I love the pearlescent gold on the arms. The printing on the torso and legs is spectacular as well, and the coloring of the helmet, I'm glad that they still do those little black lines around the eyes and just give it a bit more depth. But of course, the best part is that the face shield can just lift up. Oh, it just makes me so happy to see this back. And then when you pop off the helmet, you can actually swap on Tony's hairpiece, and there he is having a grand old time. I do wish that he came with a proper kind of Iron Man gauntlet though. However, there is a slight version of that in this set, which we will have a look at later, but it's just a shame that you can't really put it on. And there's kind of his other sided alternate face with a bunch of kind of holograms on his face as if he's looking inside of his helmet. Next up, we have Steve Rogers wielding his shield, as well as Mew Mew, aka Mjolnir. I feel like Darcy's going to be quite happy that it makes an appearance in this set, and I really like this version of Captain America. I know there's kind of mixed feelings as to his helmet and kind of how that looks. Personally, I'm a pretty big fan of it. Part of me does kind of miss the good old, like, just printed Captain America heads, but I can see why they do it. That way you can swap out the hair, which you do get in this set as well, just like Tony. So you can take off his helmet and turn around his face, which has a really nice chin strap on it, and you get a really nice kind of cheesy looking Captain America. It kind of doesn't look like Chris Evans. I mean, I don't think anything's gonna come just as close as that Infinity War head did, but it still looks good nevertheless. I just wish that he came with dual molded legs, having the dark blue as well as brown. I know that piece exists. I've got one in my collection. I'll probably swap it out, but it's such a shame that they didn't really use it here. Our next figure, and the last member of the Golden Three, as I'm going to call them, is Thor, and this is the exact same one that is in the Guardian ship, aka the Benatar, and he comes along with a little brick-built Stormbreaker, which looks pretty cool, and has his brand new recoloring of the Aquaman hairpiece, as well as his new torso, and just some plain black legs this time around, which kind of sucks, but for Thor, I guess it really works. He's also got this really lovely face print with this lightning eyes on one side, and a good old smiling Thor on the other side, printed with his beard. And his cape does actually just have the one hole in it. That way when you put the hair on, it doesn't get in the way and it's not completely messy. I do really like this version of Thor. I'm glad they didn't do kind of a stomach and beard mold. I think he looks fine just the way he is. I think it would have been a bit too much, and also with this new face print, they could very easily use this for Thor Love and Thunder sets in the future. Next up is the figure I was most looking forward to, most being in past tense, and that is Wanda, complete with these brand new trans pink Power Blast pieces, which I know a lot of people are saying they should have been red, and after seeing Mini Brick and a few other people recolor them to red, I really don't think that should have been the case. I can see why they did pink. It's the closest they can get without it really looking like blood, to be completely honest, and I feel like that's just not the vibe for a Lego set, so I think the pink works really nicely in this case, and also complements her kind of outfit pretty nicely without it blending in too much. Now, Wanda, where do I start with this figure? Alright, firstly, let's start off with the good. I love her torso. I think the printing is amazing, the detail is incredible, it looks really nice and looks a lot like her, and you'll kind of notice that, you know, her coat kind of flings out to the side, and at the back you can kind of see it continuing on, and I guess that's our first problem, is that it doesn't have a skirt piece. I wish they gave her a skirt piece. I don't really expect leg printing on Wanda necessarily, but if you're not going to do a skirt piece, it would have been nice. Like, come on, there aren't too many Marvel figures with leg printing. I get that it's all about set budgets and things like that, and especially with the Thanos Big Fig, you know, it's a lot to ask. But if you're not going to do that, at least, you know, recolor her hair, because in Endgame, it definitely wasn't brown. I think in some scenes it does look pretty close, but it was definitely more, not necessarily ginger, but it wasn't brown. It was definitely a lot lighter. It wasn't full-blown orange, but it wasn't whatever they're trying to pull off here, just reusing the Hermione hair to save a bit of money. Another big issue for me is the face. Even on this side, yeah, it does kind of look like Scarlet Witch, besides the fact that the eyebrows are more of a blonde, but just this other faces, it's so disappointing. This does not scream Wanda Maximoff to me at all. She looks far too happy, considering she's just watched her boyfriend and the love of her life die twice, and she's also lost her brother and, you know, her entire family. Like, we all saw WandaVision. We know how this turns out. She's very upset. She's very depressed. She's grieving, yet she has the biggest grin on her face, smiling ear to ear, and this just screams to me that they're gonna reuse this for Supergirl in the future. Like, the blonde eyebrows, the smile, even down to the red eyes. They've reused Wanda's face for Supergirl before, back in 2014. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens again here, and that was the main reason why this face print exists, especially because we know how much Lego loves reusing licensed face prints. So as much as I love Wanda, she's one of my favorite characters, this figure is disappointing. I might try and do a few adjustments just to make it look a tiny bit better, because she could be so much more. Next up, we have Black Panther, and he looks really, really nice. I love the printing on the torso and the head there, and then of course we're using the classic Black Panther headpiece. The back printing as well looks really slick, and I love how the silver shines up in the light. It looks really neat, really cool. But just with Black Panther, I'm surprised that he's in this set. I feel like there were other characters that would have made just a bit more sense. For example, Captain Marvel, I feel like would have been really good. Even Pepper Potts, and then give her the kind of classic Iron Man helmet this time around. I would have preferred to see Doctor Strange even. I feel like that would have been a lot better here, or Nebula, or just somewhere else. I feel like Black Panther didn't really shine too much in the final battle, like kind of Doctor Strange. I feel like he's going to be the best kind of person for this role here. So it is kind of a shame to see him pop up, especially when there is that other Black Panther set out in this wave. But I get it. It means they can reuse the Black Panther, which then saves them money. But at least he's a really core superhero, so I'm not completely disappointed here. And our last Avenger is Ant-Man, who's kind of shrunken here, as they've brought back the Ant-Man micro figure. While it does kind of suck not to get an Ant-Man minifigure again, I do love these little micro figures, and it suits the theme of this set just really well, I think, because of the fact that you do have the little van, and he does spend a lot of the battle kind of shrunken down, you know, when he's not really giant and crushing everyone in his path. I also don't have an Ant-Man micro figure, so I think he looks really cute, and I'm excited to have him in my collection now. Next up, we have the 2021 T'Chari, and he looks pretty neat. I do like the torso printing and the face print. I get why he's in this set. You kind of build up Thanos' army. It's good to have him to back up Thanos in this battle, and he comes with a stud shooter blaster with a trans purple stud on the end there. And lastly, we have the main draw in terms of characters to this set, and it is the brand new Thanos Big Fig, and I love him. He comes with this giant dual-edged sword, which I think looks really good, but it's the figure that everyone cares about because of his brand new body and his brand new head, which I love this piece. It looks so sick. It's in such a cool scale. The fact that it's just an enlarged minifigure head, I think is fantastic. You've still got the stud at the top. I really hope to see this head and just this body mold you reused again, like with Bane, Killer Croc. I mean, I guess maybe not so much Killer Croc, but definitely Bane. I can see them using it as well for Darkseid. Venom, Carnage, just come on. Like, this is perfect, especially because you've got the studs at the back. You can build onto the back, which is why I feel like especially Bane would work really well. Like, think Lego Batman movie, but in this style. I feel like it's going to be really good. Also, the printing on the the front of Thanos. Looks amazing. They didn't quite carry it all the way up onto this gold part, which is dual molded there. You can see that that's completely separate. But I don't really mind in this case. I think it looks quite well. Same with Thanos' arms, because he's kind of in his little tank top armor version this time around. You don't really need it. And I think he looks amazing. I love how you've got the chin detail on his head there. It's just so good. I don't really know how else to put it. Like, I'm really impressed with this figure, and it is about time that we have had a version without that little helmet of his. So first up, in terms of builds, we're gonna take a look at the little van, and honestly, this is my favorite part of this set. I love the design of the van from Ant-Man. I just think it looks hilarious. Even just down to the little window, which looks like one of those My Family stickers on the back. It's so nice. It's so simple and plain, but looks so realistic at the same time to the movie. And I think it's a fantastic inclusion, despite the fact that I know technically in this movie no one's driving it, but yeah, no one's there. There's also some gaps kind of in it. It's not almost kind of complete at the bottom, but you know what? It doesn't really bother me too much. At the top, they're tiled off using these 6x6 plain tiles, which looks really cool. You've got the ex-con stickers on either side, but besides that, the van is pretty much very, very plain. There is quite a lot of space inside, as you can see. There's a little seat, as well as just a lot of empty brown area for you to place some figures if you wanted to. You could have the whole gang in there. And then at the back, you can actually lift up the boot, and then you have the quantum accelerator, which looks amazing. I really like that sticker print, and even just like I said, same with the little window piece. It's just the little things like that for me. I love it. Part of me does wish, though, that there was some sort of tire sticker on the back here, but it's not the end of the world. It still looks fine either way, and there's a better look at that quantum accelerator sticker right there. And lastly, we have the compound itself, which is split into 3 different sections. So you have the little Avengers sign, as well as this sort of turret, weapon, gun type of thing first. So let's start off with them, as these are the first things you build in the set. So starting off with the little Avengers sign, I think it's pretty cute. I love the damaged kind of look here with all of the rocks and the rubble, as well as just sort of the cracked Avengers logo on that sticker panel here. But otherwise, it just feels kind of misplaced, to be completely honest. Like, I get why it's here, I get kind of what it's doing and what it's displaying, since the entire compound's gone up in flames and just kind of been destroyed. But since the sign is the only thing that's destroyed and the compound's in perfect condition, it just kind of feels a bit out of place, but I do quite like the design of it. And the fact that it just slots in there using those Technic holes looks pretty sick. Another thing that kind of looks sick, but doesn't really completely slot in, is this little turret. And I guess you can kind of shoot that, and that gun will go flying, and you could knock over Thanos if you really wanted to, which actually I kind of want to try that. Just point it directly at him and bang! Oh my gosh, that works so perfectly. But besides that, it's kind of plain, kind of boring. You can move it around though and point it in different directions. The color scheme as well does match the rest of the compound, which is quite nice, and you get some cool looking sticker panels here. But again, I feel like they just could have made the compound a bit bigger in this way. I mean, the sign definitely works a bit better, but I would have just rather used these pieces and put them inside the main build itself, because to me, it feels kind of empty. So I hope you can kind of see what I mean by just the compound's very plain, because you can kind of see directly through it because of all of these glass windows, and the entire thing is just very, very empty. I do like the design of it, and I imagine it would fit really nicely as well with just the regular Endgame sets that came out a couple of years ago. But just as a set on its own, it does feel very weak. There's this sort of satellite dish that can spin around at the top, which looks pretty cool, as well as sort of a little cone piece, some sort of giant megaphone. Then you've got those Technic pieces on the side to attach to the 2 side builds, but that's basically it. It's just one giant kind of strip of building. I do love, though, the fact that these windows kind of curve out. You can see it kind of pop out there. I love the way that that's built, and it does give it a bit more kind of depth and dimension and make it look a bit more exciting on the front as well. There is a little keypad. The best part about that sticker, though, is the fact that it's literally a minifigure hand. For some reason as well, it does kind of remind me of Loki, even though I know it's supposed to be a minifigure hand, but I just thought that was a really nice touch there. Turning the building round and you can really see that there's just really not that much going on here. There's technically 3 little sections, as this entire just top section is just empty. There's nothing there. You have this little laser cage to put Thanos and the Chitauri in, which is obviously my favorite scene out of the entire MCU. You also have this little room here with a desk and some of those beautiful holographic panels, as well as Iron Man's gauntlet, which unfortunately is just a regular dark red kind of knuckle piece. And then at the top you have a tiny little table with the Avengers printed logo and some 2 seats. So yeah, it's pretty plain. Now I know that it's not actually in the movie as like a cage for Thanos, but you can just kind of stick him in there and probably fit the Chitauri in as well if you kind of sort of take off his gun and place him there, and then you can lock them in the cage and make them look all trapped and all that, which from a play perspective I completely understand, but to me this just feels like a giant waste of space. Moving on to the hallway, you can see the entire thing is completely tiled off, which gives it this nice sort of tan carpet. And then on the left hand side at the bottom, you have this little table, which you can actually pop off really easily as it's just stuck on those jumper plates. And as you can see, there is these stickered panels, which are actually those book covers. And you can just look at that. You've got the whole kind of time travel diagram there that says calculating. It's almost done. It's at what I think it says 95% or 55%. I can't quite read that. It is very, very small, but it reflects in the light there and looks really nice. You've also got a stickered kind of computer keypad over here, and then on the side you've got 2 stickered panels with stickers that kind of represent the Iron Man gauntlet. They're both very similar but both on opposing sides, so it kind of sort of scans the gauntlet which is sat there, which unfortunately is just plain red. Part of me wants to go get a Sharpie and just kind of color in those little dots sticking out on the top, but I really can't be bothered. I hope we do get a printed version of this in the future. I feel like this would have been the perfect time to do it. I fingers crossed that that does pop up again someday. Moving on up to the top level, and once again, there's really not that much going on. There's a little plant pot in the back, which is literally a leaf stem in a 1x1 round brick, which admittedly, I do actually really like. It's pretty cute. On the right-hand side, you have this little railing with 2 guns sticking off, which don't actually stick in there very well. They are quite loose, and I guess they're just supposed to be like Black Widow's guns or something like that. You also have the Avengers coffee table with 2 little seats here, or actually there's 3 little seats. I forgot that there's one at the back with these silver coffee cups as well as a travel mug, and you get that Avengers printed tile there in the center, which looks nice. But by far the most interesting thing on the top level are these 2 hologram stickered pieces, one of Captain Marvel and one of Rocket Raccoon. But both of these holograms are extremely detailed and look amazing, and I love the fact that they represent the figures that have come out. I think that looks really good. However, I wish there just could have been a few more, maybe 1 or 2, because like I said, just this entire top section, there's nothing there, and Thanos, even when he's in his little cage, doesn't actually stick up all too much. It would have kind of need to elevate the floor a bit, but it wouldn't have been too unrealistic, at least in my opinion, to stick another few holograms over there, or at least try and do another floor. Like, he's really not that tall at the end of the day. So there is the set, and overall I really like it. I wish there was a tiny bit more to the compound, but I get it. Like, a lot of the price in this set comes down to the Thanos Big Fig, like straight up. That's why we have a reused Thor and Iron Man and Black Panther and Chitauri and a pretty weak Scarlet Witch. It all makes up for the brand new Thanos Big Fig. Overall, I'd have to rate this set an 8.5 out of 10. I really like it. Just don't pay full price for it like I did if you live in Australia, because it's definitely not worth it. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below. And until next time, I'll see you later.